Hey everybody, it's Rue. Just wanted to let you know before this week's episode starts, I had a little bit of an issue with the interview software again. Don't know why it keeps happening, but I have reached out to the support staff over there. So hopefully before the next interview, we'll have this fixed. Luckily, it's not so bad to where we can't actually listen to the episode. So just bear with me while we get through the intro here, and then things will settle down and it's infinitely listenable. And I really hope you enjoy this episode because we surely enjoyed making it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Clear skies. Oh, and I might add, it was just me, not Rick and Jeff. Welcome back to the Astrocast. I'm your host, Drew. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. How do you like that full moon? The blood moon that I was so excited about ended up only being 3 degrees above the horizon, so no need for that, as it were. Hope you've all been doing well. Sorry I wasn't around last week, but like I said at the beginning of this year, I am going to be putting myself first occasionally, and I think that's important if I want to keep up the longevity of the show and make sure that we always have quality programming. And speaking of quality programming, I've got a really special treat in store for you today. I've actually got both of the founders of Dark Dragon's Astronomy with me today. So Rick and Jeff, welcome back to the show. So happy to have you on.
Thanks, Rue. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Why don't you guys, just for people who may not be longtime listeners of the show, why don't we just do a quick introduction? Rick, I'll start with you.
Yeah. So I'm Rick. With Jeff, we started Dark Dragons a few years ago, and we make observatory control systems, roll off roof controllers, flat light systems, rain sensors, things like that. And been doing amateur astronomy myself for a couple of decades, and just absolutely love it.
So. Awesome. You're actually the first person that I met whenever I joined the club down at the Amateur Astronomers Club of Charlotte. So we definitely go back. And Jeff, you followed shortly after I met Rick. Right. So introduce yourself, man.
Well, thanks for having us. I'm Jeffrey Geis, co-founder of Dark Dragons Astronomy. Rick and I met at the club also, and we basically got sick and tired of sitting out in the cold. And we decided to go in halves on an observatory, and we did that. And then when we got to the point where we wanted to motorize it and later automate it, we just figured we'd do it ourselves. We saw what was out there, and we're like, I'm not going to spend that much, so we did. And then fellow club members started asking us for, hey, make one for me.
Yep.
And 4 or 5 years later, boom, here we are. Startup tech company basically, and but it was all to fill a need that was underserved. We felt, and that's what we're doing to try to fill the astrophotography remote control niche.
Yes, astronomers doing things for other astronomers organically seems to be a theme on the show this year. You guys are not the first people that I've talked to who've started a company because you're passionate about astronomy and you want things to be better for fellow astronomers. And I mean, what better way to start a company than by joining a club, meeting each other, and then just having it all build out, naturally. It's about as grassroots as you can get, right?
Yeah, and it's been an absolute blast because we get to see like places and skies and equipment that I would have had no chance to seeing just on my own. But because we get to travel, we get to do installations, we get to do service calls, we get to go out and see some of the world's most amazing skies. I mean, if you've never been in a Bortle 1 at 7,500 feet,
I have not.
You've not seen the sky yet.
Yeah. So I've been told.
And like Jeff was saying, talking about some of the equipment we've been able to get our hands on and just use and be around as part of this business has been something that, as a amateur astronomer with a actual budget, I would never have been able to do in the past. I mean, Jeff, we were just talking about recently when we got a chance to look at the moon through a 0.7 meter telescope visually
with the Teleview eyepiece.
yeah. I mean, go ahead and tell the story.
Yeah. So it was. We tend to schedule our installs and service calls on full moons because if we had to take a building down, it would reduce the chance of losing a good night for an imager or a client of a remote, hosted facility. So we tend to go out there when there's not great skies because of the moon. But there was a new scope that had just been provisioned, and it hadn't been really set up for imaging. It was just installed, and the owner of the facility, he said, let's put an eyepiece in this thing. And then we slewed this monster to the moon, and we were looking at the terminus, right, Rick, right on the edge.
Yeah, looking at some of the mountains right there on the Terminator, and it was just,
oh my gosh.
I mean, where you're like, you've basically got like one crater and mountain in the eyepiece.
It's 4,800 millimeters of focal length, I think.
Wow. Did you
something
just throw
like
a
that?
3X Barlow on there?
And it was, well, I mean, I think we had like a 4 millimeter Nagler or something that was just, and it was just absolutely mind blowing and so very, very, very bright.
I could imagine.
It was pirates. I mean, you literally, eye patch, it would laze your eye.
I stuck my hand out in front of the eyepiece, and you could see a projection of the moon on the palm of my hand.
So cool. Oh, man. I have a picture. I was sitting on the floor of the observatory against the back wall, and I pulled up my iPhone, and I took a snapshot. And I think Rick was like kind of getting ready to like kneel down because the eyepiece was kind of low.
Yeah.
And there's this bright white circle right in front of his face, and it's projecting light onto it. That was fun.
That's so cool. Well, what was the elevation like when you were seeing this? I would imagine pretty good. But
elevation?
Yeah. Well, like how high up were you?
7,500 feet.
That was from 7,500 feet. Okay. That's what I was kind of wanting to confirm. So I've yet to
30% humidity.
Like that.
Like we were working, doing our work out there, and it's like 2 hours into the morning. I'm like, why am I so thirsty?
It's 30% humidity.
Rick's like, this is a desert, man. You're sweating, and you don't even have condensation on your skin because it just evaporates.
That's so different from here because it's so humid in North Carolina all the time that when it's 80 degrees out here, you're pouring sweat because of the humidity, generally speaking. And out west, it's just different because it's so dry, like you say, in the desert. So,
but think about what that humidity does to our seeing and to our conditions.
Transparency especially is highly affected by humidity, and the more moisture you have in the air, the more light can bounce off of it and
absolutely
make the skies a little bit brighter and
twinkle
and just look a little bit washed out. And so it's when we have the opportunity to get to really dry locations, and especially with high altitude, it's really nice.
I can only imagine. Tell me, give me you don't even got to do top 3, but maybe 2 of the best sites, and you don't got to name drop or anything, but just areas that you've gotten lucky enough to visit, that just, when you said you've never seen skies until you've seen them from here, where would you say that is?
Well, I'd say definitely out at HCRO in New Mexico. It's just outside of Pytown, New Mexico, right on the Continental Divide, and it is absolutely beautiful out there. You are so far away from Well, even a gas station is, you know, I mean, if you want to buy a bar of soap, you're 45 minutes away from it. So
that's
yeah. I mean, and that bar of soap is $9.
Yeah.
Because the next closest bar of soap's another 45 minutes away. So if you want to do that one, it's a 3-hour round trip. So
to Walmart.
It's like the Alaska economics, right? Where you got to pay a lot more because it costs so much to truck things in, right?
And it's a hotbed for astronomy. I mean, it's west of the VLA, which in itself is amazing.
I've yet to see the VLA. That is on my absolute bucket list of
highly recommend it.
You get in this valley and you think, I'm looking 10 miles down the road. You're looking 60 miles down the road, and it's just straight. And you can see the mountains come up on the other side of this valley, and you see these on the horizon, these tiny little radar dishes, little dishes. They're all pointed the same direction. I was out there a few weeks ago, and I was driving down that road, and they use train tracks to move the telescopes.
Yeah.
So they got this device that it's a small little train, and they pick up these telescopes. They're massive, and they put them on this train, and then they move them out because they got to reposition, close in for specific frequencies, far out for others, depending on what target.
They actually physically move
the
VLA depending on what they're looking at.
The telescopes can move miles.
20 miles.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Each arm, because there's 3 arms that spread out. I think each arm is 20 miles long.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, you could spread it out to get like really long baseline, radio. And I mean, it's crazy. Because, you're making an aperture where you've got a 40-mile diameter aperture for a radio telescope there. And it's insane.
Mind-boggling. Well, I was out there.
They can bring them close together too for other types of observations. And I don't know enough of the radio astronomy science to be able to speak intelligently on it, other than what I heard a little bit and remember from the tour.
Yeah, the tour.
But it was, I mean, it's just mind-boggling that they can move these things. And these, I don't remember how much these things weigh, but I think they're in the hundreds of tons.
They
each
have
one,
to be, right?
And they, put them on these basically train tracks, and just and it's a double track where you've got 2 sets of train tracks parallel. So 4 rails.
Yeah.
And to move these things, and they pick them up and they move them around and use them for, to do science in different ways.
So cool. So cool. So let's bring it back to Earth slightly. What has Dark Dragons been up to lately? Because it's been a while since we've actually talked. So what have you guys been up to?
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead,
Rick.
We got a few, smaller things that we've been working on, and I say they're smaller, but they're still pretty important. One of them is adding in some rain sensor integration into our Dragon Layer roof controller. Makes it real easy to use, like the Hydrion type rain sensors that are the optical rain sensors, where it's great because you can detect like a single drop of rain.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wait for the little lever arm and a bucket to tip and something like that. And so that's pretty nice. We've got that integrated into the roof controller. We built a standalone rain sensor that kind of goes along with it. So if you don't have a Dragon Layer, but you still want that on your network, you can plug one of those sensors in with our device, and it shows up on your network as an ASCOM Alpaca safety monitor right away.
All right.
And then one of the other things, we've got some cloud control now for our Dragon Layer roof controller is in beta. So you can, go onto our website, log into the website, and provision your Dragon Layer onto our cloud system. And what that allows you to do is, at a glance from anywhere, without having to deal with VPNs or trying to use remote desktop on your phone with a little tiny screen.
That's not fun.
And that little cursor you're trying to,
and but allows you to just natively, see the status of your roof, open or close it, things like that from anywhere, where you've got internet access.
That is so hugely important, because I'm starting to get into Nina now, and I'm starting to learn, because I don't know if you guys are aware, but I'm gonna be setting up a remote scope in the coming months in Utah.
Nice.
and I'm starting to learn about safety devices and just stuff that I've never had to think about before, because I've always been a set up my scope, bring it back in the morning kind of guy, you know? But
That's where we all start.
It's very tricky though, like dealing with VPN, remote desktop, etc. I mean, like headless displays was something that never even occurred to me until I had a 480p display pop up, and I'm like, "What is this nonsense?"
Make sure you have the little HDMI replicator.
I found out today they have a dummy display port ones too, so I ordered those
nice.
so that way I can have one of each in my mini PC. And then I can have 2 fake monitors up on my remote displays. So, but anyway, those are the kind of problems that you're largely solving for, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're really just trying to make it easy to gain access to your device from anywhere. And, and we're using, secure protocols, we're using encryption so that, this is not we're not opening your device up to the wide internet. It is a protected system. You have
enterprise
to
level technology.
Yeah, you have to opt into it. This is not like we're not pushing this on anybody. This is an option, completely optional. You always have, still access to your system locally. You do not have to go through the cloud system. It's there as a convenience, not as a requirement. So I know nice. I've dealt with some like home automation systems and stuff before where like every command like went out to the cloud and then back. And that was horrendous. Like
that's why I'm on Home Assistant now. I like specifically I like Home Assistant for that reason. Yeah. I love Home Assistant, man. We could talk about that all day.
Yeah. But I think Jeff had some like ideas around our like standalone rain sensor that I had thought of, and he was talking about them today of just like being able to use it for maybe more than just a rain sensor.
Yeah,
what would you use one for?
Well, we built into the roof controller at the very beginning. We built in ports for sensing, safety monitor, and generally the idea was to put it in for like pinch points and places where there was a physical danger that someone could be injured if the roof were to move and there was something in there that was not supposed to be there. A lot like the infrared beam that's down by the garage. So if the cat runs out, it stops the garage door, that kind of thing, or the child, or it's a safety type system.
Yeah.
But Rick added the rain sensing port, which is basically the same exact port on our current revision of the board. A previous revision has had it also, but then you start thinking like, wait a minute, all this is a switch that's open or closed. And we have customers that keep coming up with interesting solutions to the problems. And they say, oh, well, can I use this port for that? And we're like, well, I don't know why not. It might require a little firmware change.
Yeah.
But that's the benefit of what we've built. We can change how it behaves on the fly and push a firmware update. And it takes one of those ports that it was originally designed for a, ladder being left up against the roof.
Yeah.
To keep it from moving because it's in that area where it's a pinch point, and repurpose it for, a rain sensor or some other type of system.
Yeah.
You could probably devise a wind sensor that if it went above 10 mile an hour, it would close the circuit. You could have a solar sensor that, wouldn't allow it to open if it picked up light.
So it's highly modular, and because of the way you guys are building it out, these things are really possible. Yeah.
Yeah. You could have something that like maybe monitored the voltage of something, and, and if it went above or below a certain voltage, it, would show as unsafe or, anything like that. I mean, there's all kinds of options that you can use it for.
Just today, Rick and I were in the shop, and we were putting together a new commercial system that we're getting ready to ship out. And we had this conversation, and in our commercial systems, which we're really proud of,
you should be. It's top of the line stuff. I've held prototypes that you've made, very high quality, very, very good stuff.
The control system that Rick has built for these commercial hosting facilities is unlike anything that's available anywhere in the world. And because of the modular design of everything that we put in, all the technology we put into the system, we came up with an idea today, and we're like, wait a minute, we looked online. Oh, I can add this component, and now I've added additional redundant safety feature. On the big motors, we have I'm not going to get too much in the weeds on this, but we have a breaker relay that would trip if there was a mechanical problem.
Yes.
But we had no way for the Dragon Lair, the controller, the hardware, to know that the breaker had tripped.
Yeah.
So there was no way to inform the owner of the facility or the person that's managing it remotely that this specific component's tripped. Don't know why your roof's not, or your building's not closing. It just won't. And Rick's like, well, wait a minute. We could repurpose one of these safety ports, and we can put, a relay here and wire it this way, and then a little firmware change. And now we've got a second safety system that is telling the owner of that facility that this single component that is key to making this building run has an issue. You need to send someone out there and reset it, and then find out why it tripped.
Maybe somebody left a ladder on the track or something like that.
It could be
overcurrent.
So like redundancy is like incredibly important with the types of systems you guys are building, because you're not talking about, and not to say that it wouldn't be, but you're not necessarily talking about a $5,000 rig that I put together, but this could be like literal observatory grade equipment that
it is.
Yeah.
We've got buildings that have that use our systems to open and close their roofs that have over $500,000 worth of telescopes.
Yeah.
And that's probably conservative.
Yeah.
I know we've got that 0.7 meter that we were talking about earlier. That right there is almost $300,000 in that one scope. So
without the camera.
Without the camera. Or the nailers.
Or the filters.
What kind of camera is it? It's got to be like medium format or something.
Format, Moravian.
Oh.
C5s.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Moravian C5s.
50 millimeter square, 3 nanometer chromas, that kind of, that's the level. Top of the line, research grade.
Yeah.
At that point, with that kind of budget, you could call Edmund Scientific and buy a specific bandwidth at any size, and they'll just, charge you $4,000. And there's your 65 millimeter
custom filter.
Custom filter with,
that's how they do it.
Non-reflective
so you
coating.
Just basically pick the bandpass that you want.
Yeah.
It's all science. It's just pure science.
Yeah, if you go to Edmund Scientific's website and start looking through their scientific filters, not their like astronomy stuff, but like actual scientific filters that they use for lab settings, you can literally have any wavelength that you want to pass through, any band pass for it, and any size, as long as you're willing to pay for it. Yep. So,
money's no
if you want to image a specific frequency of light, and that's it, you could go to Edmund Scientific and get it. So
now if you want to have your mind blown, and for all the folks that are listening out there, Google Princeton Systems, and the Cosmos Astros cameras.
Okay.
It's
Princeton
insane.
Systems, Cosmos.
Princeton's Cosmos, even the Cosmos 10, like their entry level.
Entry level.
I want to hear
format, low noise astronomy camera.
I want to hear the reaction from Rue here.
Well, I'm pulling it up on my screen. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys have worked with these?
No. But those are available if
it's
to a astronomer, to the general public, if money's no object. I think they started.
Wow.
Oh, it looks like Teledyne owns them now.
Oh, Teledyne. Okay, yeah.
Look at this. You can pick. All right. So, would you like a 3K, 4K, 6K, 8K sensor?
Yeah,
we got them. That's
insane. And that's an 8K sensor with a 10 micrometer size pixel. That's a huge pixel.
Yeah. Which means well depth,
so
right?
You can actually use it is what it means, even though it's an 8K sensor.
Even at, Bortle 1, you just open it up and let it soak.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to swamp it.
Oh, man. That's incredible. Well, if I win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, but there will be signs.
Yeah,
It's really, honestly, it's fun to look at this level of stuff.
Oh, of
you know,
course
and
it
I'm so
is.
glad that they at least post the information about it
right,
for us mere
exactly.
mortals to look.
Yes.
Well, when you look at the size of the sensor on that 8K, it's 4.5 inches in diagonal.
The diagonal.
The diagonal on the sensor is 4.5. It's 115 millimeters.
115 millimeters.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, these really are something else.
And then later, just do a Google search for images on that sensor, because there's pictures of that camera like at conferences and things, and they've got it under glass, and there's a human standing next to it, so it gives you a like scale of reference.
Yeah.
They're massive. They're bigger than a football. I mean, they're huge devices.
It says, am I reading this right? Does it say 21 kilograms?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Holy. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, you were not lying. That is absolutely mind blowing. So
yeah,
very cool
I mean,
stuff.
it's these type. I believe one of the cameras on the James Webb is actually one of these Cosmos cameras. It's a specialty one that was custom made, but yeah.
Yeah, but once they
Definitely
design
believe
those sensors, they can repurpose them, and you know, they can cut them down for advanced, you know, amateur use or, you know, professional use. But still,
it's definitely one of those where if you have to ask, you can't afford it. So,
you know, real quick, you said James Webb. I was thinking about this last week. So the James Webb famously sits at a Lagrange point, which basically means that it sits still in space and doesn't have to, you know, get into like low Earth orbit, for example, like the ISS or all of our satellites, right? Do you guys think with the way that space tourism is becoming a thing, that within the next 50 years, people like me and you might be able to send a rig up to space and put it on a satellite? I mean, it doesn't sound that crazy to me.
I don't know. I mean, there was a Kickstarter that was, you know, I don't know, 8 years ago, something like that, that they were talking about wanting to launch a fleet of like 6-inch reflectors into space, and to like look for asteroids that could be mined.
Yeah.
I think it was a Kickstarter. It was some, you know, Kickstarter, GoFundMe, something like that. And the, I mean, it went bust.
Yeah.
They
Not
collected a lot of money.
yet.
Well, no, they blew past all of the goals.
But just too much work to actually make it happen.
They could not make it happen.
Yeah.
And as interesting and as neat as it is, and as, you know, as seemingly easy as it seems to be getting, you also got to remember, I mean, it is still in the tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars per kilogram to get something even just into low Earth orbit.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, that's at a minimum. And that's going to remain outside of, you know, people's reach for a very long time. And, you know, SpaceX is, you know, bringing down the cost a lot with their reusable rockets, and other companies are starting to do the same thing, but it's still an incredibly difficult thing.
Yeah.
We forget just how hard it is, not just to get to space, but then to even do anything once you're there. You know, we think about things like how cold it is in space, when a lot of these spacecraft, one of their biggest problems is figuring out how to get rid of heat. Yeah,
because actually thermal transfer is incredibly hard to do.
Because a vacuum is a great insulator.
Yes. Did you guys watch it was a YouTube episode a few weeks ago. I can't remember the creator's name. He's got long hair. He's a great guy. Anyway, he was saying why data centers in space are a joke because of heat transfer and how incredibly impossible it is to do. And he did the math on it, and it was just like you'd have to have basically radiator heat fins the size of like 10,000 football fields or something for a single data center. It's just insane because it's such it's the vacuum, right? So
imagine what that would do to the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have great transparency in seeing.
Yeah.
We'd be able to see them.
Yeah. But no, well, I think that's a great segue. Talking about transparency and seeing.
Yep, that's a good one.
Because we actually have a pretty big announcement.
Okay.
So
you're hearing it first.
Yeah, you're hearing it first. This is, a room exclusive.
Yes.
And so, everybody, I think, in this hobby has at least heard of the website Clear Dark Sky. Their, seeing and transparency and cloud forecasts have been used by amateur astronomers for over 20 years.
Absolutely.
Well, about a year and a half ago, the founder of the website, Attilla Danko, passed away. And I know the community has been worried about losing that resource and all that. His wife, Ingrid, has been, diligently keeping it up and running. And through
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and especially with a really hard, time for her to be doing that. She just lost her husband, and it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
sad again.
And so, we've actually been working with Ingrid for the last several weeks, a couple of months now, and we are slowly starting to take over the website for her to keep it running. And I know a lot of people are going to be worried about, well, what are y'all going to do with it? What's going to happen to it? And in a nutshell, we want to keep the charts the same. We want to keep things free. Those are, non-negotiables right there. That we're not looking to put anything behind a paywall, anything like that. We're looking at taking this wonderful resource that I know Jeff and I both have used for decades.
A legacy.
Yeah,
truly.
And continue that legacy as long as we can and get it up and running. We're still in the process of working with her to get, all of the source code and everything up and running. I
can't imagine the work.
It's a lot to do, but we've made a lot of progress so far. And, and as we keep, improving it, we're going to be trying to make some small changes to things to kind of make it a little more reliable and speed some things up and things like that, just to keep it running for another generation of astronomers. The great thing about these charts has always been you can just look at a glance and see, is it going to be clear? You just look over and find the column of blue.
Yep.
And the deeper the blue, the darker the blue, the better the night.
Absolutely.
And so if you can find a column of nice dark blue, you're going to have good conditions. And, it's been used, just for decades. And it's a wonderful, wonderful resource. And when we found out that it was
in jeopardy,
that Ingrid was having issues, keeping the site going. And she had some problems with bots attacking the website, things like that. And so, we knew that we had to, if we could, that we wanted to jump in and help out.
And we reached out just for support. Rick's a software engineer. He just, because there was a call on her on the blog site on the page, and it asked for help. And Rick reached out and said, "What do you need? Here's some coding examples. You need what's the problems?" And it began as just a helping hand. And our goal is to maintain the legacy. We do not want to make wholesale changes. We are going to try to do our best to improve just reliability.
Yes.
And we are going to also attempt to increase the resolution of the charts.
Yeah.
We're going to add some ability for charts to be available at any location in North America. And all that requires code work on the back end.
Of course.
Yeah.
A lot of work on the back end, I could imagine.
And I also want to kind of do a shout out to, some other people that have been involved with Clear Dark Sky. Alan Rahill is a meteorologist at at Canada's Canadian Meteorological Center. He partnered with Attila to work on this, and he came up with the initial transparency and seeing forecast models that have
Which
been used
without
here.
there are no forecasts for seeing.
And Canada's CMC, he worked there, and he's been retired now for a few years. And but the CMC has been providing these maps that just show where is it going to be, clear, where's the clouds going to break, where's the seeing, where's the transparency, and these pre-rendered maps. And
this is interesting, Rue. You got to listen to how they
I've always been curious about this, so I'm glad you're going to get into it, because that was my next question.
Yeah, and so they create these maps, and then Attila was taking these maps and basically looking at what's the color of each pixel, and mapping that pixel to a latitude and longitude, and then using that to generate these charts.
Wow.
Because it could, be kind of hard to, look through each individual image to find, all right, when is it going to be clear? And he had this great idea to make a really, nice looking, concise chart to glance at and say, yes, right there is going to be a good time to look at things.
And those dots are just a wealth of information. If you dig into what they are telling you, they'll give you great information on what you should be doing that night if you're going to be imaging. Yeah.
So, I mean, you can look and see at a glance, like, well, the transparency is going to be really poor, but the seeing is going to be great. Maybe I should break out my planetary imaging.
Yes.
Or vice versa, and say, well, the seeing is not going to be that great. So, but the transparency is going to be wonderful. Let me, take some shots of some really faint nebulas that don't really have a lot of, stars to deal with. So, and we're focused on the nebulosity anyways, when they're really faint wispies that, the transparency really helps with. And so, it's great. And, Attila did a lot of these things, just to help the community out. And, that's what we want to kind of continue. And, just to, let you know just how much, he's been, recognized as a part of this community. Was, he had an asteroid named after him.
Wow.
Asteroid 161693, Attila Danko.
Yep.
Wow.
And
I did not know that.
Yeah. And he's received several other, awards from astronomy groups and things like that around the world, really. And that's a legacy that, we don't take lightly. And, we want to keep this website going. We want to keep the data available and for free. Attila had a sponsorship model on his website, where you could sponsor charts to get, use that to kind of, give you access to historical data, where so you'd archive the charts, and you'd also get some extra data that you couldn't get with just the free charts. Yeah. And we're looking at ways that we can kind of add some sponsorship in here too to help offset the cost of hosting and providing these charts, the processing power to generate all of them and things like that. But one of the things that we've already managed to do, working with the code, it's not deployed yet, it's not out there and live yet, but it's working on our dev servers now, and that's to be able to provide forecasts for anywhere in North America. Wow. Any 5 kilometer by 5 kilometer square in North America can have its own chart, and we plan on making that available on the website for free.
So let's pause on that for just a moment. What that means to you, dear listener, is that whatever 5 by 5 kilometer square that you happen to live in, you could have your own chart instead of, your cities or the closest nearby major city, which I'm sure happens quite a bit. So that's just a huge resource.
Absolutely.
And what we know, and we all know this, if you've done astrophotography or astronomy enough, local microclimates make a big difference.
Yes.
Like at GHRO, Rue, you probably know this. Conditions are usually better than forecasted at that site, and I don't know why. It's on a slight plateau, and that might be a reason. But I'll leave there late one night and drive a couple miles up the road, and I'm in fog. But there was no fog
all the time. That happens
minutes earlier at that site. So the microclimates matter. So a 5 kilometer resolution for a seeing forecast, we believe, is going to benefit a lot of people that use these charts.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And, but one of the things that we're looking at is, still continuing a sponsorship model, but making it so that it's, because you no longer have to request a new chart. You'll be able to just put in your latitude and longitude and get the closest chart to you automatically. Within a few kilometers.
Yeah.
But if you want to name your chart like the charts today have, put a name on it, like on the homepage now, there's the Weiner Observatory chart, and things like that. The Gale H. Rigsby Observatory has its own chart, things like that. We're going to keep those charts, those name charts around, and they're going to continue to be free. But what we're looking at doing is, for new charts that people want to be able to create, if you want your own named chart, then we just ask as a, pay what you want kind of sponsorship. Have like a minimum
cup of coffee.
Yeah. Pay us a minimum of like $2 a month. We were going to do $1, but then we ran the math and the PayPal fees were basically just going to make it to where we were only paying PayPal. So
I'm $1 anymore on mine. They get you, man.
And so it's like, all right, that's just literally just paying PayPal. So, so $2, recommended $5. And that just really helps us, with the cost of maintaining the website.
Absolutely.
And that gets you your observatory named, and then you could link that to your own website and whatnot. Now, I will make a comment. You're on Cloudy Nights, correct, Rue?
Of course.
Okay. Do you use the
forums?
The clear dark skies for your signature?
I
don't think I do, actually. Tell me about that.
So if you scroll down on the page that you're on there, all the way down to the bottom, there's a little snippet that you can copy up there, a little bit higher, right down, right there.
Right here. I see.
And so there's a little mini graph that you can, the mini one.
Okay.
And if you go back to the list page that you were looking at before, you can copy that. And a lot of people
right there,
that little strip of forecast right there.
Yes.
That a lot of people use that mini forecast in their forum signatures, and that's going to continue to stay in place. We're not breaking that. That's too important for people.
People love that.
Yeah.
And so we're doing everything we can to continue to let the site work the way that it does today. We're going to make some improvements to the back end, and just to make it a little bit more reliable. We're going to maintain a place on the website where Ingrid, Attila's wife, can maintain a memorial kind of corner for her.
I love that
for Attila, and make sure that stays available for for everyone to have there. And it's something that's important to us, and especially considering that we're being entrusted with the stewardship of this.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for us. And
this is history. I mean, this is quite literally astronomical history that we're looking at, and it's not just that, but it's a living document.
Now, we take that seriously. A couple of years ago, we were contracted to update a 40-year-old dome, 5-meter dome, big one.
Wow.
And we went up and we did a site inspection and a review, and we're looking at this thing, and there's just some history here. And Rick and I, the first thing we said is, we are not going to cut this thing apart. We're not going to change it. We're not going to we're going to have to put the system in that they want, but we want this system to be 100% reversible, so that in 100 years, if they wanted to go back to the way it was in 1980, they could. And we even boxed up the parts that we took down, and we labeled them, and we said removed on this date by.
I love that.
Because this hobby is one of those that has that history is important, because the history earmarks discovery, right?
Yes.
And as a club member at GHRO, Charlotte Amateur Astronomers Club, you've been in the 8-inch Alvin Clark.
Oh, yes.
I walk into that one and I'm just, in awe of a 100-year telescope, almost 100-year telescope. That is still an amazing instrument.
Absolutely, it is. And may Gail Rigsby rest in peace, who did a lot of work on that telescope himself, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. He worked very hard to restore that telescope.
So this piece of technology, yes, it's technology. It was, created by Attilla, and we want to keep that legacy alive as long as we are stewards for it. So,
the more we get into the Web 3.0, if you want to call it that, the more people are coming around to the thought that we don't have so much of what was there in the 90s and 2000s. It's just gone. It's lost to time.
Yep.
Things like Prodigy and GeoCities.
Yeah.
The things that, we grew up
AOL.
with. Exactly. I mean, like what would you give to be able to go back and look at your old GeoCities pages? Obviously they probably wouldn't have much import to other people, but if you could go back and look at that yourself. So like, being able to preserve history like this, it's so important. I'm glad that, the right kind of people have their hands on it, that aren't looking to turn it into a, factory for making money, but rather trying to pay homage and update where updates need to be made, but keep the soul, which is so important.
Now, we are going to be making some additions, but not to the legacy site. So we're going to have the ability to add or use the back end to add functionality on a modern scale.
So you're going to have like a switch essentially where you can go, are you going to be able to talk, like how, walk me through that a little bit?
Not so much that, more that we're looking at like being able to use this same data that powers these charts in other ways.
Gotcha.
And so things like, integrating seeing and transparency forecasts into the automation part of the Dragon Layer roof controller,
right into the hardware,
or cloud forecast for that matter, things like that. Now, an online, weather forecasting model is never going to be as good as an on-site weather station, but
ground-based truth is key, right? Or is king.
But it's another layer of redundancy, like we were talking about, right?
It's another layer of redundancy. And for someone who is okay with maybe, missing a couple of nights or closing early or something like that, if you just have a really conservative, automation schedule that says, if the forecast has more than like 25% clouds, just close.
I'll lose a night.
I'll lose a night, but I know everything's safe.
But now you take the weather data that we could feed into our hardware, and then you add like the rain sensor that Rick spoke of earlier. That's could be connected directly to the roof controller. Now you've got two safety systems. One would give you the warning ahead of time, and if that didn't work because there was an errant cloud and a little bit of rain, and you get that first drop hits that sensor, closes the roof, parks the mount, closes the roof. So now you're starting to add that redundancy. You add layers of sensors. And now I mentioned ground truth sensors. They're expensive. Cloud sensors are expensive. Seeing monitors are expensive. But there are technological ways that you can get good coverage on the safety side of your observatory with these tools that are available that are not expensive.
I can't speak officially for Astropeak observatories. I'm just a partner of theirs, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be an Astropeak observatory chart on here. I don't speak for Nathan, but I would be shocked if they didn't, frankly.
Absolutely. And we want to make sure that these are available. And like I said, we're doing a, kind of pay what you want sponsorship on this. This is not a, we're not trying to lock this behind a paywall.
Yeah, of course.
This is, if you want to have a named chart, for a place like a a hosting facility or a club or something like that, we want to make sure that it's accessible. That it is inexpensive and easy to add, and it's a cup of coffee a month. And if you want to buy us 2 cups of coffee, then yeah, sure, we're not going to object to that. But
I love that.
And it's basically just to help cover the hosting costs,
of course,
things like that, and because there's a
it
lot of traffic to it. So
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a busy site.
Yeah,
definitely.
And but yeah, I mean, so we want to. I know I keep saying it, but I want to keep reiterating it. It is, yes, we are committed to continuing to make these these forecasts free. And if you have a named site already, it's going to continue to be free. We're not going to take your named site down if you don't do the sponsorship. That's not
so awesome. That's really cool.
We're grandfathering in all of these name sites that are there, and making sure that they still remain available.
And that's nothing to sneeze at, because it's quite a few. I was looking at the list.
There's over 6,000.
Yeah.
There's over 6,000 sites on there, and that's a bunch. And so that's really what we want to. We want to make sure that they stay there. That we don't want to remove any functionality, except for the Google ads. We're going to remove the ads.
Yeah.
We're taking the ads down. So that ad down there on the bottom of the screen that you're seeing now, Rue, that's going to be gone.
Bye-bye.
So.
Nice. I hate ads so much.
Yeah.
You guys know that, like, for me on the Astrocast, it's so important to me to not have ads. I go to great lengths to keep ads out of my life. On my home network, I run a dual setup. I won't get too deep in, but like Pi-hole along with a home assistant,
Sure.
so that's important to me. So I love to hear that. Let me ask you something real quick, guys. I was just flipping through cleardarksky.com. Let me say that again. Definitely go check it out. And I happened to see Astronomy Villages as one of the tabs that you could look through.
Yeah.
What is an astronomy village, and why do I not live there already?
Well, a lot of these, so astronomy villages are they're communities that are out there that, and they have, HOAs on them, but their HOAs are not around like keeping your grass green. Their HOAs are all about, you can't have any exposed lights.
Oh.
You can't have, there's no street lights. If you're driving through the neighborhood at night, you have to turn off your headlights and only use your parking lights.
Oh,
those types of astronomy villages.
That
and
sounds
they
like
exist.
a dream to me. I want to live there immediately. Forgive me. This is a family friendly show, but oh my goodness, that sounds wonderful.
But yeah, I mean, there are communities out there that are like that. And so that you can, live in a location that, is around other people that recognize the wonderful natural resource that is a dark sky. And, that's really something special.
Yeah, and it's getting more and more special and more rare. I always say that if there's one, message behind the Astrocast as a whole, it's definitely fighting light pollution and just really light pollution awareness. I think
absolutely
so many people that I talk to, they have no idea. They don't even know what light pollution is. And then when you tell them about it and you tell them how important it is, not just to astronomers, but wildlife and circadian rhythms and everything else, it's just, man, I love that there are communities out there that are doing something about it. Even if it's a small amount, it's still huge because
absolutely,
man.
And
what a cool website.
And I'll use that to call out another good name, and that's David Lorenz. He produces the Light Pollution Atlas. Clear Dark Sky uses that Light Pollution Atlas for a number of things. But I think
there's
the most recent update was 2024. And so if you have an opportunity to look for the David Lorenz, LORENZ Light Pollution Atlas, then highly recommend it. And it'll show you all around the world He processes satellite data, nighttime satellite data, I believe, to produce these maps.
Wow.
And
These
updates
are
them every couple of years.
I've never seen this before.
You've not seen this before?
I have not seen. I've seen light
Oh.
pollution map.info a million times, but I've never seen this. I like this.
Yeah, that's good.
And Clear Dark Sky uses some of that data as well. Want to do some other shout outs to other places that provide data to Clear Dark Sky. The Canadian Meteorological Center.
Yes, thank you.
Without
CMC.
them, with CMC, without the CMC, there is no Clear Dark Sky. There's just not. And
without the CMC doing this 20 years ago with Attilla, there's no awareness on seeing, because the number of people who learned about viewing conditions through this website.
Yeah, because I think they were the first ones to really produce a model that was more than just, is it going to be cloudy, but actually looked at transparency and seeing
wind speed at various level altitudes, jet stream location.
Because these are all relatively
humidity.
new as far as history is concerned. It's not something that a lot of people looked at more than 20 years ago, right?
So, I think it's something that was considered for a long time. I don't know that they
probably by the
necessarily
professionals, but maybe not the amateurs as much.
Yeah. But also the Environment Canada firework, where they do smoke forecasts. Clear Dark Sky uses those smoke forecasts too. Yeah. For wildfire smokes, things like that.
And then the European models too.
Yeah, the European models, ECMWF. They provide a separate cloud model. That's so you can compare the two different models, and
that's also on the charts.
Yeah, sometimes that works better than the CMC model. NOAA with their GOES satellite imagery, where you can see the clouds moving, in real time across satellite images.
Do you use that, Ro? Or
yeah. Actually, I think there might have been some discussion in the Discord last week about that.
Yeah,
I believe
that's an excellent resource for everybody. Just
absolutely
Google NOAA GOES, and then look for the nighttime. Is it the nighttime RGB?
Yeah, I think it's the RGB one is the one that you want to look at
for your zone, wherever your zone is.
Yeah, and also Ben Sugarman, who created a limiting magnitude calculator that's on the website as well.
Yes,
that's nice.
And so, it's a complicated piece of script, but it can help you, calculate limiting magnitudes for your conditions. So,
let me ask, I heard you say 20 years ago. Is that when Attilla started this project? How long has this been up and running now?
It's been up and running since the early 2000s, so a little over 20 years. So it's been a staple of amateur astronomy and professional astronomy too for decades now, and we really want to keep it going. So.
And we don't know. I'd have to go. I don't even know. Was the Wayback Machine open back for business back then? I would be curious if the design of the websites changed much in 20 years, because it was reliable. It conveyed the information that the user needed in such a efficient way. It didn't need to be changed.
Did you guys know Attilla, or were you able to know him, or was this all by chance that you happened to get in touch with his?
I did not. A
post went out on our club's chat channel that there was a comment made by Ingrid in the comment sections on the site, and that the site was actually in jeopardy of being closed because of the problems that had become difficult to handle. And that's when Rick reached out. They were software problems. And can we help? Is there anything we can do?
That is so cool, man. I love to see it.
So I just posted a link to Yuru that is in Discord. That is a link to the web archive for Clear Dark Sky back in 2002.
Oh, wow.
Well, it did change. Look at that.
It has changed a little bit.
Right? I mean,
yeah, but the charts are totally different.
Lot. Here, let me. I'll bring it back up real quick. Nice right
That's
there.
cool.
That
Good
is
Yeah.
that
link.
is so cool.
The first capture in the Wayback Machine was from 2001.
Wow. 2000. So you're talking 25 plus years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for those of you who are relatively new to astronomy and astrophotography, I'm going to address, I guess, the elephant in the room. If you've ever looked at Astrospheric before, because it's very popular these days, guess what they're using? The exact same model. I mean, the colors, the blocks, everything, it's the same. So you're talking about one of the true OGs of astronomy, and a model that has clearly been followed quite well to this day. And I'm so happy that it has been entrusted to two great guys like you guys, because I know that you'll take care of it and do the right thing.
Well,
So
thanks.
thank you. Thanks for doing it.
Now we will be developing an app, and that app will have some modern features.
Okay.
And one of the modern features will be that when you step outside with it and you want to find out what you're seeing is, you'll have the option to allow it to use the location on your device, and it'll tell you what the forecast for the next dark session is. And if it looks good, you'll know. You're out camping, you have your phone. What's the scene going to be tonight?
Oh, I love that.
It's going to be clear. Okay, let's pull the stuff out of the truck before dark. Looks, or it looks white and looks bad. Nope, don't even take it out of the box. Just go do something else.
Just leave it in the truck. Yeah.
But that'll be based on your GPS location, because we're going to be able to, the back end is going to be able to create a chart for any location in a 5 mile or a 5 kilometer square. That allows us to use the GPS location to build an instant chart for your location. And previously, those charts were hand coded, using that pixel color solution. That was actually quite elegant for 2001.
I think it just clicked in my head what you said
Yeah.
by pixel color, and that is mind blowing. I just realized what you meant.
Map of North America, and it's got white and blue and all these different shades, and then there's a map overlaid on it, a political map, or a topographical map, and you physically put a spot here, and then the computer would read the color of the pixel where you put that spot. And then that would be the color that would go in the chart for that location, for that time.
Got it. And that's how I got it now. Man, I always wondered how that worked, and now I know. So that's cool.
That's the old way of doing it, was actually looking at each individual pixel on these charts that the CMC created. And and if you have a chance to send an email to the CMC to thank them for the data that they do, please do.
Everybody, please send them a thank you.
Do you have their email address? Even if you don't have it handy right now, I'd love to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. It is available on cleardarksky.com. There's links to send them emails and to say thank you.
And give us the full name one more time. You said CMC, is that Canadian?
The Canadian Meteorological Center.
The Canadian Meteorological Center.
Yeah. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. That's why we say CMC, right?
But without their data being processed in the way that Alan designed 20 years ago, we would not have these seeing forecasts.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And they don't have.
Thank you.
And they don't have to do it. They don't have to give these seeing forecasts out for astronomy.
Yeah, it's a free service that they do. Yeah.
So thank them for that.
Man, that is so cool. I'm just like,
thank you, CMC.
but our new system is we're not going to be just looking at the individual pixels on these maps anymore. I've been working with someone at the CMC that has been helping me out and getting access to the actual raw data that they have, and it's still the output of the models. It's just not in a map form yet,
a digital form,
and that allows us to get much better resolution on spatial resolution on the data, so that we can offer forecasts that are more accurate to where you are, and it's easier to process than it is to go pixel peeping on all of these images. And so that allows us to, in bulk, process all of the data for North America, which is why we'll be able to make this data available for free for anywhere in North America to get their forecast.
How
so
long would it take to, because you have to, I mean, I'm thinking like of the logistics about this, and this has to be a heavy lift, and it has to be several times a day.
Yeah, the models are updated 4 times a day, and so we process it 4 times a day whenever the models update, and they update it, every 6 hours starting at midnight UTC, and so we're constantly, downloading more data, regenerating parsing it, and regenerating it. And that's why it's been a kind of a hard thing to keep up and running.
Oh, I bet.
Because it's over 6,000 locations now, and doing the pixel peeping on, just the seeing forecast for one model run at one, is like 84 images.
Yeah.
And so
that's a lot of data.
You do that
quickly
across 6,000 locations, and it's like, a lot of processing and stuff like that has to happen. So getting access to the raw data that the CMC provides is really, really useful, and allows us to do these things in batch that had to be done kind of a little more sequentially than before. And so that really makes things a lot faster, a lot more efficient, and allows us to make this data available without having to manually add a new site. So,
and you guys are already starting to test run this code on your lowers, like in development.
Yeah, we've got this. We've got the new extraction pipeline running in on our dev server. It's not live. It's not available.
So cool.
Yet.
I can't wait to see it. And
we're still working with Ingrid to get all the source code and stuff. She's been absolutely wonderful.
Man,
what a it's got to be. I know it's got to be hard for her, digging through a lot of the source code that that her husband wrote. And, and she's no slouch either when it comes to coding. So, she knows how to get through and use this stuff. So it's not
sounds like an amazing woman.
And so definitely, big thanks to her and for doing all this in a really hard time.
Wow,
and,
thank you.
And I get it, and we're on her timetable. Like, we're not rushing
absolutely.
It. This is not we're not in a race to get this done. Like, we want to make sure that it's done well and
done right,
and that we do it right. So, yeah.
Yep.
I would like to send a very sincere thank you to Ingrid, because clearly it was very important to her husband, and therefore very important to her. And I think it's an unbelievably hard time to go through losing a loved one, but your partner, man, it just doesn't get any harder than that. So thank you, Ingrid. If you happen to be listening, from the whole astronomy community, it means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, there is a, personal page on the, on Clear Dark Skies website. I sent you a link to it, Rue, and it, talks about, some of the struggles that she had with it, and some of the history that, that Attila had with it, and things like that. So
Attila Danko's boring homepage. I love it.
Yeah.
He had to have a sense of humor. There was.
Oh yeah. I'm seeing his sense of humor all through the source code. It's great.
Are you really?
Big, you see some good comments in there every now and then.
Big Monty Python fan.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Which is honestly, it's the reason why the website was written in the programming language Python was because he was a Monty Python fan.
No, and that's commitment to a bit.
Well, now the programming language was named after Monty Python.
Wait, Python was named after Monty Python?
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
You thought it was after a snake?
I mean, it just never occurred to me. I never learned Python myself. I dabbled in JavaScript and a little bit of C back in the day.
No,
wow.
The language's creator, Guido van Rossum, huge fan of Monty Python's Flying Circus, and decided that when he was creating a new, programming language, that he was going to name it after them. So, yeah.
Wow, that is that's mind
The
blowing.
more
I
you
did not
know.
know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so,
So,
you'll actually see it in a lot of like Python source code that you'll see like code comments of things like when something went wrong, it'll show like "'tis but a scratch," and
in the code.
in the
We're gonna,
code.
Once it's all up, and that memorial site, we're gonna have to post some of the code to show the humor.
Oh, I'd love
Because
to
you
see
don't
it.
see that when you run the website. You
No,
just
you
see
don't.
what's executed and what's running, and we want to share some of that if we can.
God, I love that. We're going to step away for just a moment. We will be right back with Rick and Jeff from Dark Dragons Astro. I am Rue, and you are listening to the Astrocast. Hey, Nico, I heard you mention our sponsor, Dark Dragons Astronomy, in one of your videos. What do you think of our sponsor, Dark Dragons Astronomy? Yeah, wow, Rue, that's so crazy that you should ask. Dark Dragons Astronomy, actually makes the coolest astro stuff.
What's going on in here?
What the Who are you?
I think the real question here is, why are you lying to your listeners, Rue?
I kind of forgot to ask Nico about our sponsor, but I didn't want to bother him again for an obvious ad-lib session.
And you thought you could use deepfake technology to impersonate your esteemed guest, dishonor Nico's voice, despite your epic failure to plan accordingly?
Yeah, I guess I sort of did do that.
Now, Rue, sometimes being honest with your listeners is hard, but being honest with yourself, that's rougher than a cloudy day on a dark sky trip, or like leaving the lens cap on.
Oh my God, are you?
Of course I am! Now let Captain Cumulus clear the skies, and do you a solid, you know what to do.
This advertisement was brought to you by our sponsors, Dark Dragons Astronomy. For all your observatory needs, it's DDA. Find out more at darkdragonsastro.com.
Now then, I'm off to clear the skies and hearts of any would-be ne'er-do-wells.
Hey, that was pretty good. Now about this hole, do you have an insurance agent I can call, or?
Captain Cumulus!
Welcome back to the Astrocast. I'm your host, Rue. We are sitting down today with Rick and Jeff from Dark Dragons Astro. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for coming on the show. So we just finished talking about cleardarksky.com. So do you guys have anything else that you would like to say on the subject?
Well, this is the time of year where seasoned astronomers from around the country ask the question, are you going to NEAF?
Yes, they do.
Have you been to NEAF, Rue?
I have not been yet. I'm ashamed to say it. I want to go. It hasn't been in the cards the last couple of years, but I think the show is at a point now where it kind of makes sense for me to start going.
You could set up there.
Yeah.
And we've been, this will be our fourth year, Rick?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, fourth year. Oh my God. And there's always content creators at the show. Often they are walking around before the show starts, or they're doing interviews during the show. They'll set up interviews with vendors, with some of the guests that are speaking. I mean, it's a good place to collect a bunch of sub exposures for your astro image.
Absolutely.
You can get a lot of integration time at a show like that. Now we are also going to be attending NIAC.
Yes.
Are you familiar with this?
Give me the down low.
That's the imaging conference.
Yeah.
The image. Okay.
Northeast Astro Imaging Contact.
Yeah. That's our what do you call it? Our crew, our team.
Your people are there.
Yeah, our people are at the imaging conference, and because it's tailored just to astro imagers.
Yeah,
it's less equipment heavy and it's more knowledge heavy.
Yep.
They've got speakers lots of like expert astronomy and astrophotography speakers, because it is an imaging conference. I mean, it's made for the imagers, and it's just a great community that comes through there.
Does this happen around the same time as NEAF?
It's April, around the Easter.
This year it's the 2 days before NEAF. Is that right, Jeff?
Oh, okay.
Nyack, yeah.
Yeah.
Last year it was after, which was like the first time I've done that, and it was kind of weird because we were already unable to speak with hoarse voices after talking for 2 days.
Yeah.
But the great thing about Nyack is you're sitting in a chair most of the day because it's a much smaller conference.
Yeah.
And you're just basically a little table and you sit in your chair and people come and you stand and show. But at NEAF, you got a 10 by 10 booth. Some of these places have, giant multi
Oh, yeah. I've
set up.
seen lots of videos.
Lots of walking, lots of talking, lots of standing, lots of great people, lots of telescopes. Oh my God, the telescopes.
Oh, man.
And
the newest and greatest. It's always there.
Last year was all about the 6-inch binoculars. So,
6-inch binoculars. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to build a pair of these so bad. Do we have any down at the club? Do we have any comically large binoculars at the club?
we've got 5-inch binoculars.
We do?
Yeah.
In the 24. They're in the same building as the 24.
Oh, I love that.
They're Soviet era Russian.
The story, whether or not it's true, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the story is that they were binoculars off of the the observation deck of a Russian destroyer.
Naval optics.
You guys have a lot of Soviet optics.
Yeah, that's fun.
But have no idea whether or not that's true or not. But that's the story.
That's
so,
some of the best stuff is the stories, though, right? Because you probably will never know, but that's the grain that we have. So there's usually a little kernel of truth in every one, though.
But you get those 5-inch binoculars and you point them up at Andromeda and it just pops.
Oh man, I could imagine. Yeah. That's,
whenever there's an event with non-members, like a guest event where there's multiples of people and they're in line for the 24, because it does take a long time to work people through. They got to climb that ladder.
Oh yeah.
Those that don't know, there's a telescope that it's a Newtonian, and the eyepiece is at the front end of this optic, and it's what Rick, 12, 15 feet up?
Yeah, about 10 feet.
Yeah, you got to climb. I've been up that ladder many a times.
Yeah. It's a 24-inch. It's a 24-inch f5, so it's 10 feet. So
there you go. Do the math. See, Rick. But then the kids, or the people that are there they're in line waiting, and I always like to go over and pull the cover off of those binoculars, because then you can say, hey, come over here while you're waiting. You're not just craning your neck up. And what's great about those is you just start panning. There's no motor to it. There's no, you actually discover something on your own. Like I say, just move around slowly. And then you see something interesting, stop. And then they'll hit a glob or a cluster of some sort. And you're like, what's that?
Yeah. And it's something else, looking through an eyepiece and seeing something incredible for the first, I'll never forget the first time a satellite went through the eyepiece when I was looking. I just thought that was the most mind-blowing thing. I'm like, how does that, but yeah,
how's that work?
Yeah. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that how a ton of asteroids and comets were discovered through binoculars at home? There's some famous astronomers out there that did nothing but that for the longest time, right?
Absolutely. And, and not even just binoculars, but even people with really large aperture telescopes. Yeah, there's some people out there that all they do is they look for these asteroids that haven't been found, and
they want their name on them.
New telescopes like the Vera Rubin and things like that. These ones that have these huge fields of view that just can look at everything in the sky. Are really gonna start finding a lot of those things for us. Of course. And so I think that we're getting to a point where some of these manual searches for asteroids that haven't been discovered yet are maybe going away, but hopefully not. It's such a great thing that people do. So probably
for the best.
Well, but here's the thing:
if they find the one that they need to find early enough,
there's that. Yeah.
Then we won't mind as amateurs that they found it instead of somebody in their backyard.
What's the line from what's Billy Bob Thornton's line from Armageddon? Well, begging your pardon, but it's a big ass sky.
Yeah. There's still plenty for amateur astronomers to discover, though. And like credit to like Justin, who's been on the show several times in the Dark Sky Collective, I think is the name. Yeah.
Fabulous.
They've done some incredible stuff. And I mean, we were talking earlier about the filters and just looking at different wavelengths of light. And there's just so much. It's such a big sky, like you say. And there's a lot of it that just hasn't been looked at through the certain glass, right? So
exactly.
And it wasn't interesting for whatever
03.
reason. And then somebody happens to point at it. A customer of ours has got
an IFN.
Yeah, got an IFN named after him because he was. What was the story, Rick? Do you remember? Was he testing the optics or something? And he was just pointing in a weird spot, and it was just there for a long time. Or maybe he was trying to find it. I can't remember. He found it. They named it after him.
That is so cool.
IFN Maisel 0001 or 001.
I knew a Maisel, not the same one who discovered an IFN, though. I can promise you that.
How cool is it? Because long after you're gone, that stays in the
that
stays in the books.
history of
every amateur's dream, right? Is to have an object named after them, no doubt about it. Gail Rigsby has something named after him. He's got a asteroid, right?
Yes,
I believe so. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, this past year has been a hard one. We've lost some greats in the astronomy world.
Titans.
I mean, Gail Rigsby, I know he's not as well known outside of the Charlotte area, but he's still pretty well known. And he's been a huge the namesake of our of the observatory at our club he's that, and he's made countless telescopes over the years. He's won awards for telescopes that he's made. We lost Al Nagler this year.
Solar scope.
Yeah. We lost Al Nagler this year.
Yep.
Another titan in the in astronomy.
Al Nagler used our ladder.
Really?
He used our ladder once at NEAF. So
the first year we were at NEAF, we were setting up. We set up. We were so excited because we were there because we're brand new. Oh my God! We were set up before anyone else was set up, and we were done. And we had all our stuff folded up, and we had this ladder that we were using to hang the banner. And then we were walking around looking at all this other stuff. And then it was the history, the history of astronomy booth. They had all this old stuff, and it was great stuff. And then across them was the teleview, and then Al was there to put up his frog. So there's
this little multicolored frog that he has to like show off his optics.
Tiny little thing, and he put it on a pedestal way away.
Did you rename it the Nagler elevation device or something along those lines?
It's the Nagler ladder.
Man, I love that. Real quick, just we were talking about the 24-inch F5 a few moments ago, and I just want to tell a brief story. Last summer, when I was down at the club, that scope's always out whenever it's a nice night. I mean, you'll pretty much always find someone looking at something through it. And on this particular evening, it was pointed up at the eastern and western, the Veil Nebula complex.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I was asked, like, hey, do you want to check this out? And I got up there and oh my goodness. This was mind blowing because this thing tracks unbelievably well. Like you can hold the controller in your hand and when you see this nebula, thousands of times through images that we've taken, images we've seen online, you know the shape of it, where all the major features are, but to be like zoomed in so close that you have to physically move the scope around to get to different parts of the nebula and then say, oh, wait a minute, I need to head west a couple degrees to get over. That was a really cool experience. So, man, what a great telescope.
That was another telescope that Gail built. So,
he built that.
Yeah, Gail built that. I mean, I always tell people like, Gail was a machinist for 70 years.
That says it all, doesn't it? A machinist for 70 years.
The story he told me was the rotating base. Okay. The facility
the azimuth on this telescope. Yeah.
It's about 4 feet in diameter and it glides like butter. Well, the factory, the facility that he was working in or was doing work in, there were some people that were taking this thing out of the plant this turntable device, and he asked them, "What are you doing with that?" And they're like, "Well, it's going to the scrap, steel scrap box." He's like, "Put it in my car." I mean, this thing's huge. It probably weighs 1,800 pounds.
Jeez.
And it's this giant turntable gearbox for some, manufacturing process. But he knew that it had the
Really great
precision that
bearings
he
in it.
needed
Yeah.
for a telescope. So I guess it sat somewhere for years until the mirror was available. And then now I've got the two components I need to build the rest of the scope. And then he had to do the tube and all that other stuff, which is probably sourced from some other industrial facility that didn't need that tube, which is massive.
That.
Yeah. And that's together ingenuity, right?
He put together the forks for it. And at one point, it was actually on an equatorial mount. And,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I think I saw a picture of that.
Yeah, it used to be on an equatorial mount. Now it's on an alt-az in a Dob type setup. But
I can't imagine no.
It got to be too hard to look through the eyepiece as an equatorial. So he actually built these huge rollers that the whole tube would roll in so that you could roll the eyepiece around to the other wherever it was convenient to look.
So if it was underneath, you wouldn't have to crane your neck.
Yeah.
To look straight up.
But yeah,
solutions to problems.
Great setup, and just the craftsmanship that he had was amazing.
So cool. So what are you guys going to be doing at Neath?
Well, we're going to be showing off all of our equipment, all of our new versions of our roof controller. We're going to be showing off our commercial control systems, the commercial control software, which is very advanced.
Yep.
It's been in our software for a hosting facility. This is made for a place with multiple buildings. At
a glance, so you can see the whole site facilities status.
Yeah. And see the full status of everything. Make sure that, all of your devices are online. You can watch as the device is open, you can control automation through it.
Overrides.
You can override, safety stuff for it to just say, no, it's, I know my weather station's, wrong right now. I need to close everything. It's not safe.
And then it feeds the ASCOM data back to the clients.
Yeah. And so basically, you can also, you can give all of your customers the ability to not only look at, the status of of everything that's going on.
Is the roof open? Is the building open?
Is the building open or not? It also shows historical weather on the site from your own weather stations. It shows seeing and transparency forecasts. It shows all of that information at a glance. And, you can give your customers, a link so that it'll show up as an ASCOM safety monitor for their system.
Cool.
Basically, if the roof is open, it shows up as safe. And if the roof is not open, then it shows up as unsafe. And that way, Nina or Voyager or any other software that you got,
APT.
You can set up that standard, safety monitor, ASCOM safety monitor to be your trigger for whether or not you can image.
These are things that I'm literally just
learning
now
to
dabble in. And
so if you go to your equipment tab,
these are very complicated problems.
When you go to weather or safety monitor down at the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you'd be able to connect right there to a safety monitor
via ASCOM
and see it right there and use that as in your sequences to control whether or not you're imaging. And so as soon as the roof opens, it shows as safe, and then you can start your sequences automatically. So you can use the advanced schedulers and stuff and Nina to just automate all your things.
Now, imagine the problem at a commercial hosting facility. If you've got your own backyard observatory and you've got your own weather station and your own roof controller, and it's all talking to your 1 or 2, maybe 4, if you got 4 scopes at the most, instances of Nina. But in a commercial facility, you've got one building that might have 12, 20, like in Starfront, some of those buildings got 40 or 50 scopes in them. If they're all hitting the same ASCOM server that wasn't designed for that, the Roni's data starts, there's problems.
You're going to have problems. You know, a lot of this, especially the hardware that is in this hobby is not made for dealing with multiple, Ninas and things like that hitting it. It's expecting like one.
It's not meant for enterprise traffic.
Yeah. And so they tend to fall over. And so we've built a system that allows you to kind of expose that in a performant way. And we're building a high availability version of it that's not available yet, but
triple redundancy.
That'll have failover capacity so that even if you lose one of the computers that is running it, and these are relatively inexpensive computers. We're not talking about super high end rack mount
processing servers.
These are relatively small systems that can handle this, and building a high availability system that makes it to where even if you lose one or two, your customers still have access to this data. They still can keep running, and you're not dealing with customers that are mad because they're paying you money and they can't image.
I've been at hosting facilities, and at 2:00 in the morning, if something goes wrong and that call comes in, and if you've got a lot of people under roof and the roof's closed and their clear dark sky is saying that it's supposed to be crystal clear.
Oh my goodness, I can't imagine.
Why am I paying for this? I mean, there's a expectation of performance,
availability.
So we are supplying, and there hasn't been a product in this space because there hasn't been a need in this space. This remote hosting boom,
it's huge.
Is huge.
Yeah. And every one of these hosting facilities so far have either been trying to roll their own or software or something like that. That's or they've just been kind of doing things manually and
that's a recipe for disaster.
Well,
sure.
I mean, it's expensive too to have people on site go out there and manually open and close.
Sure. And so we think that they're what we've got is it's a tried and true system. It's been in use now at a hosting facility for years. This is not something that we just wanted to roll out, and throw out throw over the fence and just say, hey, look, we did this new thing. It's brand new.
We didn't even mention it in the public for 2 years.
No, this is the first time we've talked about it in public. And so this is a new system. We haven't fully launched it as available yet, but it is going to be available very soon. And, and it's an observatory management, system that is designed to help these hosting facilities operate at scale. And,
with high efficiency, high uptime, redundant. Yeah.
So
because you need to be able to scale as you grow, because they're not going to, if you're opening a remote hosting facility, you're not going to start with 20 buildings. You're going to start with one building.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to add a second and then a third if things are going well, right? So you guys can come in and say, we'll be ready for you when that second and third building are built.
You bring in more hardware, the software just expands with it. But then the management expands with it, because then at a glance, you could look at, multiples of buildings. And some of these buildings have more than one device that needs to be controlled, right? It's not just the building itself being open and closed. It could be a shutter or a wall that folds down.
Wow.
So, it's not uncommon to have, you could have 10 controlling devices that all have to work in concert. They all open at the same time. One of the favorite things that I have, I get to experience, is when I'm out on one of these sites and I'm standing there at like an hour before dusk, and all of a sudden they all start to open. It's like, all these all at the same time. And I know that was the control system telling
that's got
10 different devices it's time to open. And then they get power, the motors work, the mechanical function happens, and then the switches that indicate that structure is at where it was designed to be. And then that signal goes back to the controller, shuts down the motor, and then it reports back to the operating control system that
that's so cool.
Building's open. And then at that point, the ASCOM side is triggered, and then that sends or has the ability for these instances of Nina at the pier to touch that
to wake
ASCOM, wake up. Oh, they're open. I can start taking sky flats, or I can just slew, or I can start cooling the camera down, or whatever you need to do. Now, in the middle of the night, same thing. Clouds move in. On-site cloud sensor, clouds, tells the control system unsafe.
Yeah.
All 10 of those devices then start to move the other way. Hour later,
Clears back
clouds
up.
move out. The process repeats.
Oh man, that is cool.
Automatic, without the observatory manager or the observatory director even having any input. And they look at a glance and they see a red bar somewhere. Wait, what's that? Oh my God, we got low voltage on building 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the battery charger is,
Go out there and look. Oh my God, the battery's not charging the battery. So
or the breaker tripped, and so now it's not charging the battery anymore.
Something's there's an issue. No network. That's the one that hits us the most. Is that maybe something happened to the network system that it can't. Now we do have redundant networks. We have redundant networking on our controller. Even the consumer one has both Wi-Fi and Ethernet.
I love that.
Set them
so
both
you can
up.
still have it locally controlled.
Yep. And all the devices, all of our devices, not just the roof controllers, but the flat light panel, even our flat light app, the DragonLight Mobile.
I have it. It's on iPad. It's great. I actually bought an iPad because you guys weren't on Android yet. I don't know if you are yet or not.
Oh yeah, we're on Android. Oh, we launched that.
We're on Android now. So.
Well, we launched that in January.
Of course you did.
Yeah,
that's okay. I love my iPad.
But all those devices have built-in web pages. Did you know that?
Yes, I actually did, and I think that's one of the coolest things that you guys do. Tell me a little bit about it, Jeff.
Well, that's a software question. That goes to Rick.
Okay. Well, you wrote the app.
But you came up with the original idea for putting a web server on a roof controller.
Oh yeah, and the roof controller and the iPad app and everything. They've all got these web pages that are built into them, and that really kind of makes it a lot easier to work with. You don't have to have some app that you download and install. You don't have to have
or one that goes stale because there was an update in Windows.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about downloading drivers for any of these things. They work without having to download drivers because they conform to the ASCOM Alpaca standard, and it's a new driverless network-based communication protocol for ASCOM. And it's absolutely wonderful, game changer. I mean, shout out to
ASCOM.
To ASCOM, Peter Simpson, Bob Denny, just all those guys that that
Get it
work
out of
on
the
that
park
stuff.
with that one.
They nailed it, and it's been a wonderful thing.
Rick found that code or that feature in the code 2021 before we even formed a company.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey Jeff, look what I found. This thing allows this."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What? Now we can do what? What can we do?" And then the what if start.
Yeah. Well, what if we do this and what if we do that? And and just building it all out, and it just makes it just a lot nicer because it's a self-contained system.
It's night and day. Let me just. This is bigger picture, but let me just pause for a moment since we're talking about ASCOM and open standards and how important they are. When I started astronomy and astrophotography in particular, I started with Nina, and I learned Nina, and I learned the basic sequencer. The advanced sequencer wasn't as popular back then, not like it is now. It's a whole new world. But then, because it was easy, I went to the ASI Air, and I have a lot of ZWO equipment. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to sell any of it or anything like that. But I'll tell you this, man, moving forward, I got a very different view of the industry as a whole, just because of a lot of the practices that I've learned about. And I'm not going to sit here and bash on anyone. That's not what I'm here to do. But you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not looking at other software like K-Stars, like Nina, anything that supports open source programming. Because let me tell you, not only because you have a lot more options in front of you, but it works better. It works so much better. Do you know that the mount right now, I can show you guys. I know you guys who are listening can't see, but this same mount could not guide anywhere near this well on the ASI Air. And since I've gotten it on Nina, I mean, look at that. I mean, it speaks for itself. Like it's just, it's so much better in every way.
The size of the development team can't beat what a company can do, even a company the size of ZWO.
I mean, open source, you've got so many contributors that can, just, they work tirelessly to make it better. I've been a contributor on K-Stars and Indie, not so much with Nina. I'm more of a Linux guy myself, but
now we did release some code in the open source world. We have
released some open source code. We've released a Python library that makes it easy to build your own ASCOM alpaca devices. We've released some ESP32 code. So if you want to do some embedded, Arduino type stuff,
you had a good idea. You wanted to come up with a little piece of hardware, but you didn't want to write the ASCOM component of it.
We've
released
open source that so that you can just take this, plug it into your ESP32, and there's other options out there. We're not the only ones doing that, but we wanted to make sure that we were, we've been the beneficiaries of a lot of open source stuff. We want to make sure that that we're giving back some of that too. We're not giving away the secret sauce to all of our stuff, but
you can. I mean, you're a company. There's a goal here. I mean, that's obvious, but you're giving back to the community, and that's what's important.
Yeah, the places that we can and that we feel that is appropriate, we're definitely open sourcing some things and making it available. So, because I'm of the mind that the more innovation that we have in this hobby, the better. Like, absolutely. Even if it's not us doing it, it's somebody else, and it just helps everybody. And the more people we can bring into the hobby, the better.
Yes.
Because the bigger we grow the hobby, the better everyone benefits from it. So
yes,
I think there's absolutely room for everybody, for the companies that are out here. I'm partial to our roof control systems, but there's other ones out there too. There's the Sky Roof, there's the Lunautico. There's others out there. There's a lot of open source stuff that's available. Like I said, I'm partial to ours, obviously, but people have options, and I think that's a good thing.
Competition is always a good thing, and that's like, did you guys get a chance to listen to the interview that I did with Mean from ML Astro a couple weeks ago yet?
I don't think I've listened to that one yet. Well,
when you get a chance to listen to it, he's the guy who invented the SAL 33, which is a new harmonic drive mount. He's actually based in Hanoi, Vietnam. He's a Vietnamese guy. He owns a construction company, but he's been in astronomy for 20 plus years. Incredible guy, and is working with the original developer of OnStepX to fix little things in his mount. But every time he fixes it in his mount, he fixes it for every OnStepX mount. So it's just more collaboration. You know what I mean? So that's
OnStep's a wonderful project.
Yeah,
I mean, the stuff that they've got, allowing people to build their own mounts and or upgrade existing mounts that I think there's kits out there for EQ6s and stuff like that to modernize the control systems.
Wasn't there an open source mount, like the mechanical design, not just the electronics, but the mechanical design was
somebody I don't remember who did it now, but they posted up like all of the CAD files that you need to fabricate this mount and
what components you need to build it, and
it runs. It's made for it to run with OnStep. And it's wonderful to see the community really coming together and making these types of things. So
do you guys
look, that goes back to the founding of amateur astronomy, because at the beginning,
makers.
They had to build their own telescopes. They had to figure their own glass.
Yes,
they'd buy these Pyrex blanks and use sand and just shape them. We've heard stories from the old timers, and that's like, how long they would take? Oh, it'd take all year. You'd have to like, oh my gosh, you couldn't buy one because they didn't make one.
Man, nowadays it's off the shelf parts with motors and harmonic drives. This I'm showing Jeff and Rick right now. Tim, our Discord moderator, he home Brood the Astrocast 5 mount. I kid you
Oh, that's
not.
cool.
And it says, you can't see it here, but it says powered by Captain Cumulus on the side.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's so cool. And it's working beautifully. And he built this himself at home, which is like
On a Skywatcher tripod.
Don't you love it?
Yeah.
That's great.
So
Was that an 8-inch nude on there?
I believe so. It's
Wind
crazy
sail.
the weight that these things can take.
Well, those strain waves are,
Yeah,
you know how that
unreal.
works, right?
Oh yeah, I've read a lot about
Oh
that.
God, what a cool idea to add an extra gear on a flexible outer ring, and then it only it catches the ring as
It's
it goes around. It kind of
beautiful.
lops
I
around.
could watch that animation all day long of one
It's
of them
pretty
driving.
freaking cool.
It's so cool.
I do a lot of like mechanical gear, and Rick's always dropping links in our Discord to me, like, "Oh, check this new gear out! Look at this new mechanic." Sometimes it's just like popsicle sticks, you know, and it's like, look how this wall moves.
This linkage works.
I'm like, that could be a roof. I mean, that could be a roof. You could just put it from, put it on top, and now you got a weird way to move a roof. So
I love learning about stuff like that. My wife last Christmas got me my first automatic watch. I've never owned one before, like actual gear driven mechanical watch.
Nice.
And I'm not like a watch guy. I couldn't afford to be one if I wanted to be, but I always wanted to have a real watch. And like when I put it up to my ear and I hear the I'm just like, God, I love that. And I got to wind it every day. And I don't know. I love it, you know?
I managed to, when, another lifetime ago when I was deployed in the Army, I managed to pick up a knockoff Breitling watch that was an automatic wind. And I mean, it worked. Like you never had to wind it. It was a mechanical watch that it wound itself and all this, but it was a complate knockoff.
Yeah. But still
it looked
very, very cool.
It looked like the real thing, and the internals were really cool looking. But yeah, I always loved that watch, and ended up dropping it one day, and it shattered, and because it was a knockoff. So
not sapphire backing right there.
Yeah. No. So.
Man. So if any of that sounds interesting to you guys, is it Dark Dragons Astro or is it astronomy.com? Let me pull it up.
Dark Dragons Astro.
DarkDragonsAstro.com.
Yeah, darkdragonsastro.com. You definitely want to check it out. If you have questions, if you're curious about a roll-off roof mount, or roll-off roof observatory, Rick and Jeff are the guys to talk to. They are the guys you want to talk to. So if you're building at home, if you're building for a remote hosting facility, I mean, you guys do it all, right? So
we didn't talk about the mini observatory.
Oh man, you talked about this in the Discord a couple weeks ago. Tell me about the mini.
We open source that. We were talking about open source. How could we not? Yeah. We built 2 minutes. We built a demo to show off our technology for our very first NEAF. We had this skeleton of a building, and we're like, well, we need to draw some attention. How are we going to do this? And Rick's like, let's just build an observatory and take it with us. And we did. And it was 6 by 6 by 6. It was 6 feet. No, it was like 5 foot tall, 6 foot wide, 6 foot deep. And we used drawer slides, industrial drawer slides like you'd see on a heavy equipment construction truck that had like the big bolts and the big, impact wrenches on the bottom shelf. But these would pull out a full 60 inches.
Wow.
But they were rated to hold 500 pounds.
Yeah, 500 pounds.
Yeah, 500 pounds. And we're like, we can make a roof smaller or lighter than that. So we did, and we built this thing, and we put these little tiny motors. They were little tiny motors and a chain drive. And we didn't even have the enclosures for our product yet. We just had the bare boards.
Mm-hmm.
And we put this as a technology demo. We didn't want to have to wait a year. We did this, and we were trying to show off the technology that we were creating. Everyone was standing there and saying, I want that.
I bet they were,
I want
because
that building.
that's what you want in your
when are you
side
shipping
yard,
that
right?
building? I'm like, well, so then we went back and we looked at it for like 4 months. We're like
trying to figure out how to make this thing to where we could ship it and all that.
We were looking at renting like construction space to build, wood structures and then flat pack it, and then ship it. And it would cost 4 times the lumber's cost just to get it from North Carolina to
and
the
that was
Mississippi.
3 years ago. Imagine now.
And I'm like, And then we finalized the design. We went back and we redesigned it, and it was middle of June in North Carolina. It was 92 degrees and 99% humidity, and we were exhausted on a Saturday. And Rick and I are sitting on the concrete, which was probably 110. And Rick looks at me, he's like, "Man, this feels a lot like work." I mean, it was hard work to build this thing. And I looked at him and said, "We're
too old to be carpenters like this."
Yeah.
He's like, let's give it away. So that's what we did. So we took the plans from our Fusion 360 design. We cleaned up the design. We made it easier to understand. We built material, all that kind of thing. We tried to do our best 2D drawings, and we just put it on our website, on our forum. We had a forum. The old post and review.
I love forums.
Well,
forums are the best.
Unlike Discord, which is much better for us. But at that point, people started downloading it. Then they'd call us and say, how did you build this thing? And then we'd send them the pictures of all the builds. So we had a couple of them that we tested. And so far, how many have been built around the country?
I don't know.
Like
couple
3
dozen.
or 4 or 5. I don't know.
That's so cool.
So there's one on a patio in an urban area. The guy put it on his big patio.
I was I started buying the lumber to use before I literally talked to Nathan like the week that I was planning this out.
You're getting ready to build it.
I was, because I have a pier in my side yard that is literally in the spot for a 6x6 type observatory, you know? So
and it's great, you know. I mean, it's free. You know, you got to have Fusion 360, but you know, you can download that for free.
Absolutely.
Or the PDFs, or you get on our Discord
for non-commercial.
And
they also have a web viewer too. So if you don't have to download an app for it.
That's true. I used the web viewer not too long ago.
Or email us or jump on our Discord. We'll send you the PDFs and you have the flat drawings.
I want to ask you guys, when we're done talking, I'd like links for everything. If you could email them to me or drop them in the Discord, because I would love to include some of these things that we've talked about today in the show notes. So if anyone's listening and you're interested in anything that we have talked about today, I know I throw around the word show notes a lot, but we will be putting some links in there. So definitely click on the episode info and get some of those links if you want to check them out. If you want to build an observatory, if you want to check out Clear Dark Sky, if you want to check out Dark Dragons Astro, we're going to put all of that in the show notes so you guys can check it out.
And then our apps on Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
What do you just search for Dark Dragons? Or
I think you can do that. We got the DragonLight Mobile, which is for the
DragonLight Mobile. That's the
and
flat app.
then we've got the Dragon Device Finder, which is an ASCOM device finder. So that's a free device. Or a free
device finder. Walk me through that real quick.
It's a really cool one that you can
out of
use
necessity we built.
Yeah, and we kind of made it to help us whenever we're doing installs and stuff at some of these hosting facilities. But what it'll do is, because ASCOM Alpaca has a discovery protocol, and so it's got a built-in way of discovering ASCOM Alpaca devices on your network. Uses UDP packets to send them out over the network, and then the devices have to respond. Well, Jeff had the idea and went through and built the app that just, turn it on, it connects to your Wi-Fi, and it starts running that discovery protocol. And then all the ASCOM Alpaca devices on your network start showing up in the app.
Pop.
That's so cool.
And so
now,
you can see their
devices,
IP. Yeah, you see the IP address of them. You see the port number that they're running on. You can click on it and go to their webpage.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. So when you're on a facility that's got 10 different devices and you're servicing one of them, and you need to hit the website to maybe bump the roof or whatever, it's like, okay. I was like, I can't. I have to go open the laptop, go to the control.
Oh,
I'm
gosh,
like, I need something I can do in my hand.
Yeah.
But now with more and more of these Alpaca devices coming online, it's just a free little app that's
so cool.
And it doesn't just discover Dark Dragons devices. It discovers any ASCOM Alpaca device.
And this is
not any ASCOM device. It's got to be Alpaca. It's got to be network-based.
but that's now, again, like we said, that's becoming.
Well, you can run ASCOM server and then expose non-Alpaca devices as an Alpaca device. Is that right, Rick?
Yeah. So ASCOM has a piece of software that you can download for Windows that you can use to connect to the ASCOM driver.
Is it the device hub? ASCOM device hub?
No, it's not the device hub. It's called ASCOM Remote.
That's it.
And it turns your regular ASCOM device, whether it's a mount or a camera or anything like that, into an alpaca device that is discoverable on the network.
Yep.
And so you can do that and be able to use it from somewhere else. So
that's so cool.
It's a really neat little app that Peter Simpson created, and it's a great way to just kind of modernize your stuff that you got there. So
when is NEAF and the Imaging Conference taking place? Do you guys know the dates this year by chance? You said it's going to be around Easter, right?
Let me pull that up. So
it's going to be the Imaging Conference is April 9th and 10th.
9th and 10th.
And NEAF is April 11th and 12th.
Do they do that on purpose? Are they located near each other, or is it in different parts?
Yeah, they're both put on by the same
northeastern area.
I think it's the Rockland Astronomy.
Yeah, the NEAF is at the at the college. Okay, the NEAF is at the college.
Okay,
because they use the field house, which is a big building.
The community college there, the Rockland Community College. Yeah.
And then the Imaging Conference is at the Crown Plaza, I believe, which is a hotel complex that's set up for conventions and such. And it's 4 miles away from the college. So it's so for 4 days, you got nerds, astro nerds all over that part.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. And if you guys listening happen to be going to NEAF this year, make sure you stop by Dark Dragons and say hello to Rick and Jeff. They'd love to meet you.
We would love it, and we would just love geeking out on this stuff. So,
oh man, I can definitely tell. Before we wrap it up,
2 hours into the conversation,
that's how we do it on the Astrocast. We do the deep dive conversations. But hey, man, that's what we like to do because that's what people like to hear. That's what I like to hear. I mean, that's why I started the show, right?
Well, when you're imaging and you got 10 hours of imaging, what else are you going to talk, right?
Some of my favorite episodes that I've recorded are out under dark skies. I love doing that. But is there anything else before we wrap up that you guys would like to mention or plug or anything like that?
I don't know, Rick, is there? I think we hit kind of all high points.
We've touched everything. Beautiful. If we forgot it by now, then
well, you'll be back on the show, no doubt. We will definitely have you back on. And I just want to send a giant thank you to you both for coming on and being, I just want to say it, the first sponsor of the Astrocast. You guys have been there from the get-go. So thank you both very much for that. It means a lot from the whole community. Thank you. And I wish you the absolute best of luck in business and NEAF and health and life.
All right, man. I appreciate it a lot.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks, guys. You've been listening to the Astrocast. I'm your host, Rue. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And as always, clear skies.
Wednesday evening, the feed goes live. Rue's voice cuts through the dark like a 135. From backyard scopes to mountain peaks, we're all tuned in, no time to sleep. Red dot finders, coma correctors gain. He breaks it down like it's simple, never pain. Comets rising, planets in the frame.